Hi, this is Susan. I am a healthcare provider. I've been a nurse for 30 years, and amidst all this COVID turmoil through the United States and through the globe, we are short of N95 masks, these are the N95 masks that are in dire need of every healthcare worker and provider. What I'm going to show you today is a substitute that the general population can wear that will be a little bit more effective than a cloth mask or a scarf. I made this mask here. It is out of a Filtrete air filter. It's a 1500 or a 1900 filter, an air filter that I took apart. I will show you a picture of the packaging after, but it was a 30 by 30 filter with mesh screening over it. I took it apart, careful not to ruin the integrity of all the filter here, and I made my pattern as a copy from a surgical mask that I wear at work. So inside, between the outside layer and the lining of the white, it's all cotton, I have a layer of this filter, and actually on the package it said that it protects against viruses also and bacteria. So you cannot iron this fabric because it will melt and it will lose its integrity, and also through the video I will not pin through any of it because you don't want the integrity of the part that will be around someone's face to have any punctures in it or holes, because it's going to allow viruses to get through it. So here's a pattern I'm going to put on the site for you, and it's a basic pattern. It's an 8 by 9 inch piece of fabric that you're going to use for your outside fabric and your lining of the white cotton. Cotton is preferable because it doesn't hold the moisture as much as a polyester. This is the filter pattern. It's cut a little bit smaller so that you don't have to cut waste off of it, being that it's so valuable material. I didn't want to cut excess off my seam allowances. And then also here is a wire length here that you're going to have to cut in here. I have a wire that I put in so it will conform to the wearer's nose and face, just like this did here. Once you have it on, you're going to push it and conform it around your nose and underneath your eyes. So this is the wire that my husband had in the garage. It's a 18 gauge aluminum wire, and I just cut 4 inches of it. I actually just had to bend it and it snaps right off. And I'll show you when I'm putting together the mask how I insert that up into the seam allowance up here. So this part here are the ties. I'm just doing it for ease for whoever wants to make these, to just cut these apart, and then you're going to tape both of these ends together. So where you're just cut these all apart, there's 5 of them, and put A to A, B to B. See, and it's going to be 2 inches by 40. If you don't want to use a pattern, that's fine. Just cut your strips of fabric. And then I have the step-by-step instructions here for you. So the really important is not to put any holes in the filter material when you're taking the mesh screening off. If you happen to, when you're pulling the wire off of it and you notice that it looks thinner, just mark it with a Sharpie so that you know to cut around it and not to use that part of the filter. So this is the fabric that I cut out that I'll be demonstrating with. This is a 9 by 8 inch piece of fabric. This is going to be the front of the mask. This is the cotton, and it's exact same size. So I am going to place this on top of each other, matching the sides and the edges. And then I am going to place on the filter, but I'm going to bring it up a 1/4 inch from the edge, bottom edge, and then I'm going to make a seam a 3/8 of a seam right here, and then these edges I'll show you I'm going to turn under. It's really important, although, that you're going to make these masks, that you still follow the government's guidelines on staying at home and do your social distancing of at least 6 feet away from everybody. It's really, really important. The healthcare workers are inundated with so many patients right now, and it's really important for everyone to do their part and to stay home to stop the spread of this virus. Okay. The first step of this, after placing your fabrics together, right sides together, and then your filter on top, is just to sew a simple straight stitch 3/8 of an inch from the bottom edge, straight across. And the filter has lines in it from the accordion that you can use as a reference on where to sew. And then once you have that done, now you don't want to press any of this. I just open it, and you're going to hand press the edges like this. And then bring it over. And once you have that, you can go back and just do an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Right at the edge again. Okay. So now I'm going to go to the ironing board, and I'm going to show you how to finish off the top part that will be up by the nose and the eyes. So now at the top of the mask, you're just going to turn under about 5/8 of a seam allowance here and just press it. And this is going to finish off the upper edge of the mask. And then this lining, turn under again. Now the lining, I'm going to go back to the sewing machine, and I am going to put a 3/8 inch seam here, and then I'm going to thread the wire through here that's going to help conform it to the face. And I'm going to sew the 3/8 seam allowance up at the upper part of the lining of the mask. So just so you know, I did not go out and purchase any of these items. My husband actually had that filter in the basement for our furnace. He had the wire in the garage that I'm using for the nose, and I'm an avid sewer, and I have a large sewing room that I have a lot of fabric. So I went down in there and I found fabric to make these masks from. So now I sewed the casing that I'm going to put this wire in, and you just slide it right in the casing like this, kind of put it in the middle, and I try to get it as straight as possible and push it as close as possible to the seam, because I'm going to bring up my front facing fabric, lay it all flat. Let's see if I can get it here. And then I'm going to do the 1/8 inch seam allowance here. Just match your edges and kind of push the wire back with your fingers. So again, these masks are for your personal use when you have to go out and get a pharmacy order or your groceries, but it is advised that everyone should be staying at home and practicing the stay-at-home guidelines that the president is suggesting. Okay, now I'm going to put the pleats in the mask like this, so that when you open it, it goes around the nose and under the chin. I marked on the pattern circles and little arrows. You're going to bring the circle down to the arrow. You're going to bring this circle down to this arrow, and you're going to form the pleats. So I'm using paper clips so not to use any pins on the fabric. Obviously we have to sew here, but this is going to be way up above the nose and way underneath the chin. So I'm trying not to do any pins in this area. I haven't used pins at all. So, and if you're a beginning sewer, you might want to use them just on the very edge, but pretty much you can use paper clips. So I'm going to take the dot, go to the line, bend it under, and then you can pull it taut. So the filter has accordions in it anyways. So I'm trying to, it may not be right at the fold, so it's kind of being a little stubborn for me right now. But you just pretty much want to make sure it's kind of even in the front. They don't have to be perfect. It's just to help you be a little bit more protected. So put that there. And then you're going to bring these lines up to these dots right here, as close as possible. Hand press it. Do a paper clip here. And one here. Now when I sew it, I'm obviously going to have to take the paper clips off, but at least it's holding it in place for me right now. And I'm going to just do a 1/4 inch little stay stitch on the side edges. Like this. It's basically just straight stitching if you have a sewing machine. I think anyone could make it. And they don't have to be perfect, everyone. Just for your added protection. So there you go. There's the pleats in there. So I'm going to go and I'm going to do a 1/4 inch seam allowance right here. So now I am going to put the stay stitching. And I'm going to pull this paper clip out as I go, so I don't break my needle. Do the other side, and then we'll put the ties on it, and you'll see how easy it is to do. Okay, the threads, it's basically done. I have tried some also. You see a lot of the healthcare workers using, or even at the dentist, you've seen them with the little elastic around the edges. I don't think it holds it as taut around your face as that it should, as like a regular N95 mask. So I think these are preventing a lot more airflow going in around your face and your mouth. So I have 2 strips of fabric here for the ties that I went and I pressed each edge in. Probably it's like 3/8 on here, but on the pattern it's 2 inches. I just did these freehand-handed, so they're a little bit narrower than your pattern, but you're gonna press both edges, and then you're gonna flip it inside each other like this. So this will be your tie, okay? So right now, I am going to find the center of this tie just by holding it up. Find the center of it. I'm holding it. And then in the center of the mask, I'm just gonna, kind of the center, put it on here and sandwich it. Like this. so that it's on both sides. And it's pretty even. So if you make sure that it matches halfway at the top and at the bottom, you're going to catch your seam on the back when you sew it. So now I'm going to go over here. Careful holding both pieces, and I'm going to start right at the mask, and then I'll go back and finish both edges of the ties after I get it attached to the mask. And I go back and forth a couple times right here, just because when you're putting it on you may break a stitch, so I just want to reinforce it a little bit. And go and sew it, and again back stitch. And then bring the edges together and do about 1/8 of an inch away, all the way down, and then we're going to zigzag the other end, and I'll show you. I've seen other masks that people were, making the cloth ones. I think just with the filter in it, it's giving you a little bit more protection when you are out and about. So I'm turning this on to zigzag right now, and I'm just going to zigzag the end. And it finishes the edge. See? So I'm going to do at finish the whole mask. But it's really important also, everyone, that these masks, you cannot wash them. So just store them either in a brown paper bag or up in a dry place somewhere. In the women, you may get a little bit, if you have lip gloss or lipstick on, don't worry about it on the inside. It may stain it, but the filter should not be wet, because it will lose its integrity. So just when you're out and about, just bring it home and then just take it off and maybe tie a couple loops at the top and let it hang and dry. It shouldn't get that, it shouldn't get that wet, you being out. So I'm just going to now finish all the other ties, and I'll show you the finished product in a minute. Okay, this is the finished mask. The wire's up here. So to apply it, just kind of open it a little bit. You're going to put this up over your nose, kind of bend it towards your face. Take these upper strings, you want to tie them back here, and you want them pretty snug because you don't want air to come in around it. And then you're going to take this, you want it tucked under your chin, and I tie mine up like this, so it actually seals around your face. The N95 regular masks actually conform all right here, but this, it comes over far enough, and if you have it snug enough, really you're not getting any air pockets. So this is how it should be worn. Thank you for watching me, you guys. Everyone, please be safe, stay at home, and we're going to defeat this terrible virus. Thank you.